All right, let's dive in. Today, we're going to explore the really profound work of an eco-theologian named Sam Harrelson, and we're going to see what a single tree, of all things, can teach us about our place in the world. So let's kick things off with a huge idea from Harrelson. He talks about this practice he calls tracking. Now, the key thing to get here is that this is not just about passively looking at nature, not at all. It's about being intentional, being present, and actually building a real two-way relationship with it. So who is the person behind these big ideas? And, how did he even get to this unique way of seeing things? Well, Sam Harrelson's work really sits at this fascinating crossroads. I mean, on one hand, he's an eco-theologian and a PhD candidate, deep in the world of spiritual and environmental thought. But he's also been a marketing strategist, a published poet, and a teacher. It's definitely not your typical academic resume, and it's this mix of deep thinking and real-world practical experience that makes his work so powerful. And this right here, this just says it all. I mean, look at his teaching history. How many people do you know who have taught both AP Physics and university-level religious studies? Not to mention robotics and English Lit. This ability to just naturally connect the worlds of hard science, tech, and deep spiritual questions, that's absolutely central to his whole project. So you take that unique background, right? That blend of science and spirit, and it led Harrelson to create this core project that tackles one of the biggest questions of our time. What is our relationship with the planet? He calls it the ecology of the cross, and it's really his life's work. The whole point is to reimagine theology not as some abstract thing that's disconnected from our lives, but as a hands-on practice of connecting deeply with the living world. It's meant to be a hopeful, creative response to the ecological crisis we're all facing. Okay, but that's a huge idea, right? So how do you take something that big and turn it into something concrete, something you can actually do? How do you live it? And this is where that concept of tracking comes back in. This is the key that turns simple attention into a real spiritual practice. It's not just about noticing the world around you, it's about a total shift in perspective. It's about seeing yourself as a participant in that world, in a give-and-take relationship with it. Okay, so what does that actually look like day to day? I mean, how do you go about tracking the world? Well, for Harrelson, it meant focusing his attention in a very, very specific way. And this brings us right to the heart of the story. This is where we get to see the idea in action. Harrelson decided to start a year-long journal, focusing all of his tracking practice on one single black walnut tree in his backyard in South Carolina. And through the seasons, entry by entry, he built a real relationship with this tree. It all starts on a cold, rainy morning in January. By April, he's noticing the very first signs of new life, these little seed pods. Then, in October, he captures this really powerful family moment under its branches. And by November, he's marking that transition into winter as the very last leaf finally falls. This entry from October is just so moving. He walks outside and finds his daughter Emmylou reading to the tree, almost like she's picked up on his habit. And he describes this incredible moment where it seems like the child and the tree are just listening together, sharing the same breath. It's just a perfect example of how a quiet, personal practice of attention can ripple out and affect the people around you. And what's so amazing is how this quiet, personal act, just watching one tree in a backyard, connects to this much, much larger calling for all of us. Harrelson actually frames his project within an idea from the cultural historian Thomas Berry, who called it our great work. The idea is basically that the most important thing we can do right now is to shift our entire way of thinking, to get our own consciousness back in sync with the planet's own patterns of life. So this year-long journal, it becomes one person's very real attempt to do exactly that. And that leaves us with a question that's not just for him, but for all of us. I mean, what if you chose one thing in your world, a tree, a patch of sky, a crack in the sidewalk, and you gave it your full relational attention for a whole year? What might you discover? What deeper patterns might start to show up?